welcome to Quebec City in my home country of Canada. This is an absolutely beautiful and historic city with so much to see and do, and in this video, I'm showing you some of the top spots. Chateau Frontenac is an iconic symbol of Quebec City, and more than once I've heard this hotel referred to as the most photographed hotel in the entire world. It's been here since 1893 when it first opened with 170 rooms. And since then, of course, it's been through a lot of changes, but the whole time it's still standing here on the St. Lawrence watching over Quebec City. It sits on an archaeological site, and for over 200 years, this was the seat and residence for both British and French governors. It's been a home away from home for royalty like Princess Grace of Monaco and Queen Elizabeth II, as well as music royalty like Celine Dion and Paul McCartney, and even Charlie Chaplin has stayed here. Riding the funicular in Old Quebec is the cheapest thrill in the city. Old Quebec is divided into Upper Town and Lower Town, and as you might imagine, getting between the two involved some effort until the funicular came along in 1879. It travels at a 45-degree angle and takes passengers about 194 feet from where they started. It's not only practical if you want to save yourself a few steps, it also provides fantastic views. If the St. Lawrence River is the lifeblood of Quebec City, then Place Royale, where I'm standing now, is its beating heart. This is also known as the cradle of French North America, because it was here that Samuel de Champlain founded Quebec in the year 1608 and set up the first permanent French settlement in the Americas. It functioned as a residence, a trading post, a store, and a fort. Now, in the center of Place Royale, you can see a bust of King Louis XIV, who was the reigning king at the time that New France was founded. Personally, this is one of my favorite spots in the city, and I love to sit here both day and at night, as you can see is also lovely. Notre-Dame-des-Victoires is the oldest church in North America. It was built in 1688, more than 300 years ago. And of course, it's undergone a lot of changes over the years, but it's still here, still standing, still a beautiful place where you can attend Mass. Inside, you find stained glass, and my personal favorite is a ship hanging suspended from the ceiling. The site where this church was built is very important historically, and it's even older than 1688. It goes back to 1608 when the founder of New France himself, Samuel de Champlain, founded Quebec, and it was here on this site that he built the first building out of wood. Years later, in 1624, he built a second building, this time out of stone. And if you look on the ground in front of this church, you can see that they've marked out those original foundations from the 1624 building, including a turret on the corner. A fun fact is that this church is the oldest in North America on a slight technicality, because there's another church in Quebec that was built before. It's the Notre Dame Basilica Cathedral, built in 1647, well before this one in 1688. However, because that one was destroyed and then rebuilt, and this one is still standing, we can say that this is the oldest in North America. If your love for art extends to so-called bad art, then the Musée du Bad Art is definitely for you. The MOBA, or the Museum of Bad Art, is a non-profit that started in Somerville near Boston, Massachusetts, and they had their first exhibition in 1994. This exhibition in Quebec City is temporary. It's part of a public arts festival. Inside, you'll find art that's too bad to ignore. A lot of it is anonymous. It's found at secondhand shops or thrift stores, sometimes even in the trash. I personally adore going to thrift shops, so who knows, maybe someday I'll find something that I can donate. This is a whole lot of fun, especially because unlike most art galleries, you're encouraged to think the art is bad, and in fact, the worse, the better. Just off of Place Royale is a massive mural. This is the Mural of Quebecers, and it's been here since 1999. It was painted by 12 Quebecois and French artists over a period of 9 weeks. And if you look closely, you'll spy historical figures from different parts of Quebec City's past. It's a super popular place to take a photo. One of the charms of Quebec City is that it's kind of like an outdoor museum, in the sense that you could never darken a doorway and just spend all day, every day, walking up and down streets, and I still think you'd have a wonderful time. At least I know that I would. Each street has its own charms and unique stories, and this is a great example. I'm standing on what are known here as the Breakneck Steps. These are the oldest steps in the city. They've been here since the beginning of the French colony, and they give you a great view onto what is one of the prettiest streets in the city, Rue de Petit Champlain. There's a long list of streets worth checking out in Old Quebec, like Rue de Cul-de-Sac, Rue sur le Fort, Rue sur le Cap, Rue Saint-Jean, Rue Sainte-Anne, Rue Saint-Louis, Rue des Trésors, and Avenue Saint-Denis. The Dufferin Terrace behind me is a great place to stroll along the St. Lawrence River right at the base of Chateau Frontenac and get a fantastic view out to the water. It was built in 1879 under the direction of Lord Dufferin. He was the Governor General of Canada at the time, so it's named after him. And Parks Canada maintains the terrace because there's actually a National Historic Site right underneath, and there are parts where you can actually peek down and take a look. My favorite part of the Dufferin Terrace is the toboggan slide. This is so familiar to me, as it will be to anyone who grew up in Canada going to French class, because you see images of the toboggan slide as part of Quebec's very famous winter carnival. Of course, it's only open in the winter, but it's been here since 1884. It's 60 meters high, 250 meters long, and you get up to a speed of 70 kilometers an hour. So I'm just gonna have to come back in the winter time and try it myself. If you want to see Quebec City from the highest point possible, you need to come here to the Capitol Observatory. Up on the 31st floor is the best point of view of the city, and from up here you can see all 4 points of the compass. But I'm going to hazard a guess you'll want to spend most of your time at the east-facing windows, because there, of course, you get a view down onto Old Quebec, onto Chateau Frontenac, the Citadel, and of course the St. Lawrence River and the mountains. You might think that the 31st floor isn't high enough to get a really good point of view, and certainly that would be the case in other cities, but this really suits the smaller scale of Quebec City. Standing here, looking east in the direction of Paris, I can't help but think about Louis XIV over in Versailles and wonder what he would think of all this. This wide open, light-filled space is the Musée National des Beaux-Arts du Québec. It was the first museum ever opened by the government of Quebec. And they started in 1920 collecting arts with a view of opening such a museum, but it didn't actually open to the public until 1933. And now there are 2 buildings that you can visit. We've just seen a temporary exhibition called America, which explores American art from the 20th and 21st century by more than 80 artists. It's a collection of paintings, sculptures, works on paper, and videos from the Smithsonian's National Museum of Modern Art. It showcases how artists have helped to define, reinvent, and sometimes challenge the American dream. We saw some wonderful art by artists like Edward Hopper, Mark Rothko, David Hockney, Louise Bourgeois, Willem de Kooning, Jackson Pollock, Grandma Moses, Andy Warhol, Rosalind Drexler, Jasper Johns, Man Ray, Malcolm Morley, Julian Schnabel, Georgia O'Keeffe, Nick Cave, and Henry Taylor. With fantastic visiting exhibitions like this, plus of course their permanent collection, if you love art, then this is a must-see in Quebec City. There you have it, lots of ideas and inspiration for beautiful Quebec City. If you're familiar with Quebec, leave a comment below. Tell me your favorite spots, your top recommendations. I would love to hear. I also wanted to let you know that if you have a little more time to visit Quebec City, there's a region of Quebec called Gaspé, not far from here, and you could definitely combine the two to make one spectacular trip. We just did a 10-day road trip around the Gaspé and documented the entire thing on our YouTube channel, so I'll link all of those videos down below as well if you'd like to see more. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for lots more travel adventures, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye!